California has always been known for its strict firearm regulations. And with AB 127 on the horizon, things are only getting tighter. But before looking ahead, today we're taking a step back to revisit the guns that disappeared from California long before this new law arrived. From Cold War legends to engineering milestones, these firearms each represent a piece of history that buyers in this state can no longer touch. Some were banned in the late 80s, others fell to feature tests, magazine limits, or caliber restrictions. And now, it's time to begin the countdown and explore how these iconic guns vanished from California. Number 10. Uzi Israel. A compact firearm that earned worldwide recognition long before California declared it off-limits. Its origins trace back to the early 1950s, when Uzi Gal designed it for the Israeli military, who needed a weapon that was simple to operate, durable in harsh environments, and fast to train new soldiers with. Gal never wanted his name attached to the gun, yet the practical nature of his design made the Uzi spread far beyond Israel's borders. With the magazine inside the grip for instinctive reloads and a telescoping bolt that shortened the overall length without sacrificing barrel performance, the Uzi offered surprising efficiency for a platform built around 9mm ammunition. When semi-auto civilian models arrived in the United States during the 1980s, they typically came in two forms. The carbine featured a 16-inch barrel, while the pistol version used a 10-inch barrel, both running on a straightforward blowback system. Standard magazines followed the familiar 20mm, 25mm, and 32mm capacities. The all-steel construction gave the Uzi a solid, balanced feel, helping control recoil and making the platform comfortable for rapid, close-range shooting. It was never designed for long-distance work. Instead, its strengths appeared in tight, fast-paced situations where compact size and controllability mattered more than precision. The Uzi's real-world impact stretched into countless roles. Special operations teams carried it in urban environments, security details kept it in vehicles because of its compact footprint, and Hollywood turned it into a symbol of the action film era. Even when newer designs appeared, many organizations continued using the Uzi because it was easy to maintain, affordable to produce, and dependable under pressure. California took a different approach. In 1989, the Roberti-Roos Act banned the Uzi by name and placed it directly into the Category 1 list. Not due to any mechanical issue, but because its silhouette had become associated with the type of firearm lawmakers wanted to phase out. From that point on, the Uzi faded from California's market, surviving only through grandfathered ownership or rare exempt transfers. In free states, pre-ban Uzi's usually sell between $1,500 and $2,500, depending on condition and production era. Inside California, their rarity elevates them from common firearms to collectible pieces of history. Today, the Uzi stands as a reminder that sometimes a gun becomes restricted not for how it works, but for what it represents. Number 9. Steyr AUG. A rifle that looked like it came from the future the moment it entered service. Developed in Austria during the 1970s and adopted in 1977, the AUG broke away from the traditional rifle layout by moving the action and the magazine behind the trigger. That bullpup design allowed it to keep a full 16-inch barrel while staying as short as many subguns, giving soldiers the velocity and reach of a standard rifle in a much more compact shape. Early models featured the familiar translucent 30-round magazines and an integrated optic, details that help define its instantly recognizable silhouette. Inside, the AUG runs a short-stroke gas piston system that keeps carbon away from the action and maintains reliable function across different climates. One of its standout traits is the quick change barrel system, which lets trained users swap between lengths and rolls without tools once they understand the process. Because of the bullpup weight distribution, the rifle balances close to the shoulder, making it stable when moving in vehicles, navigating tight urban spaces, or shifting quickly between targets. The main downside often mentioned is the trigger. Like most bullpups, it relies on a mechanical linkage to reach the sear, giving it a heavier and less crisp pull than traditional rifles. Even with that compromise, the AUG earned widespread adoption. More than 30 countries selected it or one of its variants, including Australia, Ireland, and New Zealand. Troops valued its durability, its handling in tight environments, and its modularity, which allowed forces to use the same base rifle for multiple roles. Its unique look and engineering approach also gave it a cultural presence far beyond Europe, helping it stand out among Cold War-era service rifles. California, however, did not embrace the AUG. When the Roberti-Roos Act passed in 1989, the AUG was placed directly on the banned list by name. The decision meant that its configuration or features did not matter. Owning a standard AUG alone was enough to classify it as prohibited for new sales. With no grandfather clause for these named rifles, the AUG vanished from store shelves in California, while shooters in other states continued to enjoy the original imports and later A3 versions. Today, a modern AUG typically sells for around $2,000 to $2,200 in free states, with older variants commanding even higher prices among collectors. Inside California, its scarcity turns it into more of a design icon than a working rifle. The Steyr AUG remains a clear example of how a firearm can be banned, not because of how it operates, but because its futuristic profile stood out in a way lawmakers found unacceptable. Number 8. Calico M-900. A firearm that stood out the moment it appeared because its design looked nothing like the rifles around it. Instead of a standard box magazine, it used a large cylindrical helical drum mounted on top of the receiver, capable of holding 50 or even 100 rounds of 9mm. Calico Light Weapon Systems introduced it in the 1980s as a lightweight, low-recoil carbine built for law enforcement, competition shooters, and enthusiasts who wanted extreme capacity in a compact package. On a clean range, that drum system delivered smooth feeding and gave the M900 a futuristic profile that instantly separated it from everything else on the rack. Beneath that dramatic magazine, the rifle is surprisingly simple. It operates on a straight blowback, closed bolt system, and is commonly paired with a 16-inch barrel. The controls are straightforward. The recoil is gentle thanks to the combination of weight and cartridge, and the top-mounted drum keeps the balance centered even when fully loaded. The promise was clear: long strings of uninterrupted shooting without constant reloads, something that appealed to niche roles and to shooters fascinated by unconventional engineering. Still, the Calico's greatest strength was also its biggest weakness. The helical drum relied on an internal track and spring that needed to stay clean to function well. Even a small amount of grit could interrupt the feed cycle, which is why military trials never fully adopted the system. For everyday enthusiasts, though, the M900 offered a unique experience. It was a compact 9mm carbine with capacity rivaling much larger platforms, and its unusual silhouette made it a favorite in film and television whenever a director wanted something that looked advanced, without actually being a military rifle. California's laws ultimately sealed the Calico's fate. When the state enforced limits on detachable magazines holding more than 10 rounds manufactured after 2000, the M900 effectively lost the feature that defined its identity. Without its 50 and 100 round drums, the rifle became just another simple blowback carbine, and it quickly faded from the California market, while remaining a curiosity in other states. Today in free states, the Calico M900 typically sells in the range of $800 to $1,200, depending on condition and whether original drums are included. Collectors see it less as a practical tool and more as a symbol of late Cold War experimentation, a reminder of a time when designers were willing to take risks and build something radically different. In California, functional examples with their original magazines are rare and valued more for their uniqueness than their utility. Number 7. F&FAL. A rifle so influential that it helped define the look and feel of the Cold War battlefield. Developed in Belgium in the late 1940s and refined through the 1950s, it became the primary battle rifle for dozens of nations who wanted a dependable platform chambered in 7.62 by 51 mil. While the United States went with the M14, nearly every other NATO country adopted the FAL, valuing its rugged construction, strong downrange performance, and simple, adaptable design. For many soldiers, it became the standard image of a Western service rifle. Mechanically, the FAL uses a tilting breech block and an adjustable gas system that allows the user to tune the rifle to different ammunition or harsh field conditions. Most military versions feature a 21-inch barrel and feed from 20 mil or 30 mil magazines, giving the rifle a long, authoritative profile. It is not a light firearm, but that extra weight helps absorb recoil and makes the rifle feel stable and predictable, especially during rapid follow-up shots. While it never aimed to be a precision marksman tool, the FAL delivered consistent accuracy within the typical ranges infantry faced in real combat environments. What made the FAL so widely respected was its reliability. It functioned well in heat, mud, rain, and dust. And the adjustable gas regulator gave it a level of adaptability most rifles of its era lacked. As a result, it appeared in conflicts across Africa, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and South America, earning a reputation as a durable workhorse. Its long barrel, iconic silhouette, and robust operating system cemented its status as one of the defining battle rifles of the 20th century. California eventually targeted it through feature-based legislation. When lawmakers introduced restrictions in the late 1990s, the FAL's combination of a detachable magazine, pistol grip, and flash suppressor placed it squarely inside the state's assault weapon definition. Later, regulatory updates closed loopholes for classic configurations, effectively ending new sales of traditional FOAL rifles in the state. Meanwhile, in free states, civilian models and parts kits continued to circulate among collectors who appreciated the rifle's history and mechanical charm. On the broader market today, pre-ban FAL rifles usually sell between $1,500 and $3,000, depending on country of origin, configuration, and overall condition. Belgian and British pattern rifles often sit at the higher end due to their desirability. Inside California, surviving rifles are considered collector items, trading hands quietly and increasing in value because of their scarcity. The FN-FAL remains a symbol of Cold War doctrine, a rifle that helped define an era and continues to attract enthusiasts long after its service peak. Number 6. Colt AR-15 series. The rifle that shaped what most people today recognize as the modern sporting rifle. Its story begins in the 1950s with Eugene Stoner, who set out to build a lightweight modular rifle using aluminum and composite materials instead of the heavy wood and steel that defined the earlier generation of battle rifles. Colt later acquired the design, the military adopted its own variants, and the civilian semi-auto versions carried the AR-15 name into gun stores across the United States. By the time California tightened its regulations, the AR pattern had already become the most widely known rifle platform in the country. The typical Colt AR-15 carbine uses a direct gas operating system that channels gases into the bolt carrier to cycle the action. Civilian models usually feature a 16-inch barrel and are chambered in 5.56 mil NATO, feeding from 20 mil or 30 mil magazines. What makes the AR-15 so influential is its modularity. Shooters can change stocks, handguards, triggers, optics, and even entire upper receivers, allowing a single lower to serve multiple purposes. The ergonomics, including the pistol grip, straight-line stock, and intuitive controls, helped new shooters learn the platform quickly and made it a favorite for training, sport shooting, and general use. Its strengths are clear: mild recoil, reliable accuracy at typical carbine distances, and an enormous aftermarket that lets owners tailor the rifle to nearly any role. Law enforcement agencies adopted the platform for patrol use. Competitive shooters embraced it for speed-based sports, and civilians used it for recreation and skill building. Years of exposure in movies, television, and news reports made the silhouette familiar even to people who had never handled one. California, however, viewed the AR-15 differently. Through laws like the Roberti-Roos Act and SB 23, the combination of a detachable magazine, pistol grip, flash suppressor, and collapsible stock placed standard Colt AR-15 configurations into the state's assault weapon category. Although featureless builds and fixed magazine systems offered temporary workarounds, the classic form of the rifle effectively vanished from new sales in California, while continuing to grow in popularity elsewhere. In free states, pre-ban Colt AR-15 rifles commonly sell between $1,200 and $2,500, depending on age, model, and condition. Certain early production rifles or rare variants can command even higher prices. Within California, grandfathered examples are treated as collectible pieces rather than everyday range rifles, valued for their history and the legal framework that surrounds them. The Colt AR-15 series remains one of the most influential rifle families ever made, shaping both civilian shooting culture and the legal debates that continue to surround it. Number 5. SAR-48. One of the finest civilian FAL pattern rifles ever imported into the United States. Built in Brazil by Imbel under license and brought in by Springfield Armory during the 1980s, the SAR-48 gave American shooters a high-quality version of the FN FAL, at a time when well-made foreign battle rifles still entered the market freely. Imbel had long produced rifles for military contracts, and their manufacturing standards were strong enough that many enthusiasts still consider the SAR-48 among the closest civilian equivalents to original military FALs. Mechanically, the SAR-48 follows the classic FAL blueprint. It uses the tilting breech block and adjustable gas system that made the platform so versatile, letting the user tune the rifle to different ammunition types or rough conditions. Most rifles came with a 21-inch barrel and fed from standard 20mm or 30mm magazines, giving them the familiar length and weight associated with Cold War battle rifles. Though not a lightweight platform, the extra mass helps absorb recoil from the 7.6 2x51mm cartridge, making the rifle surprisingly steady and comfortable to shoot. The SAR-48's real-world strengths mirror those of the FAL family. It delivers solid power, dependable reliability, and a rugged construction that handles heat, mud, and dust with ease. Shooters often praise how smoothly it cycles once the gas regulator is tuned correctly. While it was never built as a precision rifle, it offers consistent performance within typical infantry ranges, maintaining accuracy suitable for its intended role. Its long barrel, distinctive charging handle, and iconic profile make it instantly recognizable to collectors and anyone familiar with Cold War small arms. California's laws eventually pushed the SAR-48 off the market. When the state enacted feature-based restrictions, the combination of a detachable magazine, pistol grip, and flash suppressor categorized the rifle as an assault weapon. Number 4. Barrett M82A1 M107A1. Number 4 on this list is the Barrett M82A1 and its modern counterpart, the M107A1, rifles that reshaped how long-range firepower is understood. When Ronnie Barrett designed the original M82A1 in the early 1980s, the idea of a semi-automatic rifle chambered in 50 BMG sounded unrealistic. Yet the design quickly proved that a single operator could manage a platform with enormous downrange energy. Before long, the rifle entered U.S. service and then spread to Allied forces that needed a tool capable of reaching targets far beyond standard infantry distances. The M82A1 uses a recoil-operated system and a large dual-chamber muzzle brake to help manage the force of the 50 BMG cartridge. Most models run a 29-inch barrel and feed from 10-round magazines, giving the rifle a long, imposing silhouette. The M107A1 refined the concept by trimming weight, using modern materials, and introducing suppressor-ready features while keeping the core performance intact. Both rifles were built for roles that demanded extreme reach and heavy impact, rather than traditional marksmanship duties. In real-world missions, Barrett rifles served mainly as anti-materiel tools. Teams used them to disable equipment, stop light vehicles, and neutralize hazards from distances where normal rifles would have no effect. Although large and far from lightweight, the capability they offered made them essential in environments ranging from deserts to mountainous regions. Their accuracy, power, and ability to maintain effectiveness at long range gave them a unique place in modern military doctrine. California eventually removed the Barrett from civilian access by targeting the cartridge itself. In 2004, the state banned the .50 BMG round, effectively cutting off new sales of the M82A1 and M107A1. Existing owners had to register their rifles or move them out of the state. Barrett later developed the .416 Barrett as a legal alternative, but the original models remain prohibited for new purchases in California. Outside the state, Barrett rifles continue to command significant value. Pre-ban, M82A1 and M107A1 rifles often sell in the range of $8,000 to $12,000 depending on condition and configuration. Early production guns and military-connected variants can reach even higher prices. Within California, registered examples are rare collector pieces. The Barrett M82 family remains one of the most iconic long-range platforms ever created, combining bold engineering with capabilities that reshaped expectations for semi-automatic rifles. Number 3. HK VP9. Number 3 on this list is the HK VP9, a striker-fired pistol that marked Heckler & Koch's return to modern polymer handgun design. Released in 2014, the VP9 quickly gained attention because HK built it around ergonomics rather than simply trying to match trends. The frame uses interchangeable backstraps and side panels, letting shooters fine-tune the grip to their hand shape instead of adapting to a fixed design. This customization, paired with HK's strong reputation for build quality, pushed the VP9 into the spotlight almost immediately. At its core, the VP9 is a 9mm pistol with a 4.09-inch barrel and 15mm magazines in free states. One of its biggest selling points is the trigger, which features a clean break and a short positive reset. Many shooters considered it one of the best factory striker-fired triggers of its era. Combined with the pistol's low recoil impulse, natural grip angle, and well-designed slide serrations, the VP9 offered a shooting experience that felt both approachable for new users and refined enough for experienced ones. Accuracy at typical handgun distances came easily, and reliability stayed consistent across various ammunition types. The VP9's real-world appeal was rooted in comfort and predictability. Law enforcement agencies in several countries adopted it for officers who appreciated its handling characteristics, and civilian shooters often praised how easy it was to control during long training sessions. It became a popular choice on U.S. ranges, standing alongside other major polymer pistols, but distinguished by its ergonomics and smoother trigger feel. California's laws kept the VP9 off store shelves, despite its growing popularity elsewhere. Since 2013, California's handgun roster has required new pistol models to include micro-stamping technology. Because no major manufacturer has implemented this requirement, the VP9 never qualified for the roster. That meant the only way to obtain one inside the state was through private party transfers from individuals who had purchased the pistol before moving to California. The limited supply turned the VP9 into a highly desired off-roster item, often selling for far more than its standard retail cost. In free states, a VP9 typically ranges from $500 to $700 depending on configuration. Inside California, off-roster examples frequently sell for significantly higher prices due to scarcity. The HK VP9 remains one of the most respected striker-fired pistols of its generation, a design praised for comfort, accuracy, and refinement, yet blocked from California's market not because of performance concerns, but because of a regulatory requirement no manufacturer has ever adopted. Number 2. Nighthawk Custom. Number 2 on this list is Nighthawk Custom, a company that turned the 1911 platform into a showcase of American craftsmanship. Founded in 2004 in Berryville, Arkansas, Nighthawk built its entire identity around a simple but demanding rule. Each pistol is assembled by one gunsmith from start to finish. That approach set the brand apart instantly, giving every handgun a level of consistency and attention to detail that mass production companies simply cannot replicate. While the pistols follow the familiar 1911 blueprint, nearly every component is oversized, hand-fitted, and carefully tuned to deliver a level of refinement far beyond standard factory models. Most Nighthawk pistols feature a 5-inch barrel in their full-size versions and come chambered in 9mm, 10mm, or 45 ACP. Magazine capacities follow the traditional 1911 pattern, depending on caliber. The hand-fitting process gives these pistols a smooth slide-to-frame feel and a trigger break that many shooters consider among the cleanest available on any production or semi-custom 1911. The ergonomics remain true to the classic design, but the build quality adds a sense of balance and control that makes the shooting experience noticeably more refined. On the range, the pistols deliver tight groups, predictable recoil, and the kind of mechanical confidence that makes them suitable for competition or serious collecting. Nighthawk's strengths lie in reliability, precision, and workmanship. Owners often describe the pistols as running smoothly regardless of ammo choice, thanks to polished internals and careful tuning. The premium coatings and upgraded components contribute to durability while giving each model a distinct personality. Whether used as a range pistol, a competition build, or a showpiece in a collection, a Nighthawk stands out immediately among other 1911s. California's regulations ultimately kept Nighthawk custom pistols out of the state's new sale market. Due to the handgun roster requirements introduced in 2013, new models must include micro-stamping technology, something no major manufacturer has implemented. Since Nighthawk pistols were never roster certified, they cannot be purchased new in California. Buyers must rely on private party transfers or individuals who legally owned one before moving into the state, which has turned these pistols into rare and expensive off-roster items. In free states, Nighthawk pistols typically sell between $3,000 and $5,000, depending on the model and the features. Limited editions, custom finishes, and collaboration builds can exceed those prices. Inside California, scarcity pushes them even higher, making them prized collector pieces. Today, Nighthawk Custom stands as one of the most respected names in the 1911 world, defined by craftsmanship, precision, and exclusivity, especially in California. Number 1. AK Series. Number 1 on this list is the AK Series, a rifle family whose silhouette has become one of the most recognized in the world. Designed by Mikhail Kalashnikov in the late 1940s and officially adopted by the Soviet Union in 1949, the AK was built for soldiers who needed a weapon that would run in mud, sand, rain, and snow, with almost no maintenance. Chambered in 7.62 by 39mm, it offered a balance of recoil, power, and durability that made it suitable for the wide range of environments Soviet forces faced. The classic AK uses a long stroke gas piston with a rotating bolt, a layout known for reliability over precision. Most models use a 16-inch barrel, 30mm magazines, and either a stamped or milled receiver depending on origin. The loose tolerances and robust components help the rifle achieve its legendary reputation for functioning even when heavily worn or neglected. While it was never meant to be a precision platform, it delivered dependable performance within the short to medium ranges where most real combat occurred. Its strengths made it a global standard. Dozens of countries adopted the AK or built local variants, and its simple manual of arms made it easy to train new soldiers. Replacement parts were common, and the rifle proved resilient in hot deserts, humid jungles, and freezing winters. Its widespread use also made it a cultural icon, appearing in documentaries, films, and news footage until the shape of the AK itself became symbolic of conflict and revolution across the 20th century. California acted early to restrict it. Under the 1989 Roberti-Roos Act, many AK pattern rifles, Chinese, Romanian, Egyptian, Russian, and others, were banned by name. Later, feature-based laws broadened those restrictions, classifying nearly all traditional AK configurations as assault weapons due to detachable magazines and pistol grips. While a few heavily modified versions appeared briefly, the classic AK design never returned to the state's consumer market. In free states, AK prices vary based on origin and build quality. Romanian imports often range from $1,000 to $1,500, while higher-end Russian, Bulgarian, or milled rifles can reach $2,000 or more. Pre-ban and collectible variants can rise far beyond that. Inside California, surviving grandfathered rifles are treated as rare collector pieces because of their limited availability and historical significance. Today, the AK series remains one of the most influential rifle designs ever produced. Its durability, simplicity, and unmistakable profile ensure that it remains a cornerstone of modern firearm history, even in places like California, where new sales have long been closed. As we reach the end of this countdown, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. Every firearm on this list, whether it was a battlefield icon, a precision masterpiece, or a bold engineering experiment, disappeared from California, not because people forgot them, but because the laws around them kept shifting. Some were banned by name, others by features, and a few simply couldn't meet regulations that no manufacturer ever adopted. Yet each one left a mark on history, on design, and on the shooters who still talk about them today. Whether you see these rifles and pistols as collectibles, milestones, or symbols of another era, they stand as reminders of how quickly a market can change and how easily an entire generation of firearms can fade from a state's shelves, even as their legacy continues everywhere else.